Study Section 10. English Stress. Introduction. The basic English suprasegmentals are stress, intonation, and rhythm. We had an introductory discussion of these features in ENG 202, Introductory Phonetics and Phonology. In this study section, we shall discuss further on English stress. Learning outcomes for Study Section 10. When you have studied this section, you should be able to define and use correctly all the keywords printed in bold. Explain with examples the concept of stress. Identify levels of word stress. Explain the concepts of free and fixed stress. Distinguish between compound and phrasal stress. Demonstrate knowledge of sentence stress. Identify strong and weak forms of grammatical words. 1. What is stress? Stress is the prominence given to a particular syllable of a word or group of words. When it affects a word, we are dealing with word stress. But when it affects a group of words, we are dealing with phrasal stress and sentence stress. When an English word is pronounced, a particular syllable of the word is made more prominent than the other syllables in the same word. In the English language, two syllables or more cannot enjoy equal prominence in a word. One must be more prominent than the other or others. This is not the case with majority of our local languages. This makes stress challenging for most Nigerian speakers of English. The syllable is the pronunciable unit of the sounds of a language. It is used to refer to the portion of a word you could produce within a breath effort. The English word pretend has two syllables. These are pre and tend. A monosyllabic word, a word of one syllable, often takes the stress on the only syllable it is made of. Man, transcribed. Man is an example of a monosyllabic word where the only syllable available, man, is assigned the stress. A diasyllabic word is made of two syllables, while a polysyllabic word is made of many syllables. People is an example of diasyllabic word, while eradication and education, way slash minus KEI minus slash, takes the primary stress, are examples of polysyllabic words. Int, monosyllabic word, one syllable. Diasyllabic, two syllables. Multisyllabic, three or more syllables. Stress, degree of prominence, in brackets, length, duration, loudness, etc., which a syllable has more than other syllables in a word. Now, let us look at the characteristic activities that accompany a stressed syllable. These are called phonetic cues of stress. It simply means what a listener would perceive to know that a speaker has stressed a syllable of an English word. The pitch of the syllable must be made prominent, different from other syllables. This is called pitch prominence. Another cue is that a stressed syllable must be longer than all other syllables in the word. This is called duration. Another cue is loudness. A stressed syllable should be louder than any other syllable in the word. This is called intensity. Also, some consonants are usually dropped off. that is elided or removed, while some vowels are reduced in quality to the schwa sound when a syllable is not stressed. For instance, have is produced as have when stressed, but when unstressed, it loses the H sound and becomes have. Vowels have a tendency to get reduced to the noun form as stress on the first syllable, which retains its strong, but the first syllables of the verb form contains the vowel schwa because stress is assigned to its second syllable. Conduct. Noun. Conduct. It is very important to point out the fact that English stress is very complex when compared to other stress systems in other world languages. This accounts for some of the difficulties encountered by second language learners and users of English language. It is good to note that every word in English has a tendency to be learnt with its peculiar stress pattern. 2. Levels of stress. English word stress and sentence stress come in levels. There is the primary stress, which is the most important stress in a word. It is assigned to the more or most prominent of the syllables of a word. The next level of stress is the secondary stress, which is assigned to the syllable that is next in prominence to the primarily stressed syllable. There is another level which is the unstressed. This affects all unstressed syllables which are produced with the least prominence. Let's look at the following example. Education, polysyllabic word. Edu, K, shen, 4 syllables. The primary stress is assigned to K. The secondary stress to E, Y, J, and shen are unstressed. Int, primary stress most prominent, secondary stress next in prominence, the unstressed weakest syllables. ITQ, exemplify the above with the word indefatigable. ITA, indefatigable. There are 6 syllables here, of which fra, the third bears the primary stress, in, the first bears the secondary stress, and detigable are unstressed. While dealing with English sentences, however, 3 levels are also recognized. These are nuclear stress, tertiary stress, and unstressed. The nuclear stress is assigned to the last stressed syllable in a sentence, while all other syllables that are supposed to take stress will have all their stresses reduced to tertiary. All unstressed syllables will remain unstressed in the sentence. We should note at this juncture that all monosyllabic words that perform grammatical functions in the sentence are not stressed. These grammatical words are prepositions, auxiliary verbs, articles, and pronouns. Examples are is, are, will, can, you, me, is, are, they, a, an, in, on, by, etc. Let us look at the following sentence together. The man returned from Lagos yesterday. The content words are man, returned, Lagos, yesterday. The grammatical words are they, from. The content words would have the appropriate syllable assigned the stress, while the grammatical words would be unstressed and uttered very weakly. Among the content words, the last stressed syllable of the sentence, which would be the yes of yesterday, we have the nuclear stress, which will be the most prominent in the sentence. Now, let us assign stresses to the sentence above. The man returned from Lagos yesterday. Yesterday we bear the nuclear stress on yes, while the stresses on man and turn of return will become tertiary. The nuclear stress on the yes of yesterday will make it the most prominent syllable in the whole sentence. Do not forget that grammatical words such as they and you, a, an, them, have, had, is, etc. belonging to the word classes prepositions, articles, pronouns, and auxiliary verbs should be altered without stress. They are usually very weakly altered and quickly run over to get to the next stress syllable. Free versus fixed stress. It is good to note at this junction that English is not the only language that employs stress. Many other world languages also use stress, but not in the same way that English does. For some languages, stress is easy to learn because a learner would be given a simple rule to guide him or her in placing stress on the words of that language. For these languages, stress is predictable, so it is fixed. In Hungarian, the first syllable of a word is usually assigned the primary stress. Therefore, a stress rule in Hungarian will state assign stress to the first syllable of every Hungarian word. In Polish, the penultimate syllable, that is, the syllable occurring immediately before the last syllable, takes the stress. Therefore, there should be a stress rule in Polish stating thus: assign stress to the antepenultimate syllable of a Polish word. In Turkish and French, the last syllable is assigned stress. This should also have a simple stress rule stating that the last syllable should be assigned stress. On the contrary, English stress does not have a simple rules that would state assign stress to the first, second, or third syllable. Assigning stress to English words is too complex to be captured in a simple rule as this. This is because stress in the English language is unpredictable, so it is said to be free. The prominence associated with stress is assigned on different syllables of different words, depending on the nature of each word. Therefore, in English, stress acquires a lexical function since it has to be marked on lexical items. This means each lexical item should be checked properly for the right placement of stress. Do note, however, that there are some peculiar cases of some disyllabic noun or verb, an adjective or verb, pairs in English, where the first syllable is assigned the primary stress in the noun or adjective form, and the second syllable in the verb form. In these limited instances, English stress becomes predictable. Do not forget that these words form a closed system in English because they are limited in number. Let us look at these pairs together. Nouns, adjectives or verbs. Under noun, export, exports, conduct, conducts, perfect, perfects, record, record, frequent, frequent, concert, concerts, Though English stress is predictable in the noun or adjective and verb forms, it does not imply that English has a predictable stress pattern. This is because they form a closed set since not so many words are involved. Therefore, there is no basis for such generalization. Therefore, as learners of English, we must have a pronunciation dictionary, especially the talking type. And when we check the meaning of English words in any good dictionary, we must endeavor to check the pronunciation of its sounds as well as stress pattern. Hint: a language has fixed stress when its stress patterns are predictable and has free stress when they are unpredictable. 4. English compound and phrasal stress. Compound words and noun phrases. It is important for us to take a look at stress placement on words that are used together as compounds or groups. We will now discuss English compounds and phrasal verbs because they are easy to confuse in terms of stress placements. Compound words are two words that are used as one word. More technically, a compound is a word composed of more than one free morpheme. It functions as a noun. That is, it gives a name to a person, an object, a place, etc. Examples of compound nouns are headmaster, grandfather, blackboard, blackbird. Phrase, however, refers to a group of words. In brackets, note that a phrase functions as a group of words, not as a word like a compound. Therefore, stress patterns may distinguish a compound word from a noun phrase consisting of the same words. We can change the meaning of the words that combine to form compound words that give names to people, objects, and places by changing the place of the stress. For example, black bird. While the primary stress on the first word black and the secondary stress on the second word bird is the name of a particular kind of bird, but black bird with the primary stress on the second word bird and the second stress on the first word black means any bird that is black in color. This means that when such word gives name to people, objects, places as nouns, you should put the major stress on the first word. But when they have other meanings, you should stress the second word. Let us take a look at the following table. As nouns, naming people, places, and objects, in brackets, compounds. Blackbird, the name of a particular bird. Grandfather, your parent's father. Light ship, a ship made like a lighthouse. Second, as a group of words with other meanings, phrases. Blackbird, a bird that is black. Grandfather, a father that is grand. Light ship, a ship that is light. We should note, however, that there are exceptions to this rule. There are some compound words with the primary stress on the second word rather than the first. Examples of such words are downstairs, mince pie, full grown. Phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs refers to verbs that have two parts or are composed of two elements that can each function as a word if uttered alone. However, when put together as a phrasal verb, both function as a single word. These types of words are often, made, up, of a verb, and preposition. Stress assignment to phrasal verb is also very important, especially for phrasal verbs that have compound noun counterparts. In this context, when the phrase is produced as a verb, it has a primary stress assigned to the second element, which is the preposition, while the compound noun counterpart has the primary stress assigned to the first element, which is the verb. Let us look at the following examples together. When you produce the first column, stress the second element because it is a phrasal verb. When you produce the second column, stress the first element because it is a compound noun. Phrasal verb, compound noun. Under phrasal verb, stress the second element. Under compound noun, stress the first element. Stress the second element. Let down. Let down. Print out. Print out. Turn off. Turn off. Set up. Set up. Take over. Take over. Hint on English stress assignments. As earlier discussed, there are no first rules regarding the syllable to be stressed in an English word. A learner of English has to learn the stress pattern alongside the meaning of the words. However, some hints may assist. Please note the following and adhere to them while placing stress on English words. 1. Prefixes and suffixes are not usually stressed, e.g., IAN, ED, HES, AL, IC, less, LESS, IN, pre, etc. 2. Words that ends with IAL, IAN, IC, ION often take their stress marks on the penultimate syllable, i.e. the syllable preceding the last syllable, e.g. colonial, civilian, economic, and education. 3. Words ending with a suffix ity takes their stress on the antepenultimate syllable, e.g. inferiority, unity, captivity. Sentence stress. We have discussed word stress up to this point. We now know that one cannot predict where stress will be on an English word with a single simple rule. We also know already that each word has a stress pattern that remains valid. However, it is very important to note that when English words occur in sentences, that is, when they occur as part of a sentence, the stress assigned to the words become graduable. All the stressed syllables of words of an English sentence are not produced with equal prominence. Some one-syllable words that are usually stressed when they occur in isolation become unstressed. When they occur as part of a sentence, which words are to be stressed and which are to be left unstressed in an English sentence? All lexical items of the open classes, such as nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and verbs, should be stressed, while those of the closed classes, such as pronouns, conjunctions, determinants, prepositions, and auxiliary verbs, are often unstressed. Let's look at the sentence together. Emmanuel is a very handsome man. In the sentence, Emmanuel, handsome, and man will be assigned stress while is and a will be left unstressed. In addition to this, the stress to be assigned to the three content words will be graded such that man, the last stress syllable in the group, will be assigned the nuclear stress, which is the most prominent stress, while Emmanuel and Anselm will be assigned tertiary stress, a prominence that is not as outstanding as that of man. Hence, nuclear stress, most prominent and assigned to the last stress syllable in the utterance. Tertiary stress, of lesser prominence, assigned to other stress syllables before the nuclear. Unstressed, grammatical, often one-syllable words belonging to the closed class. The one-syllable words of English, referred to here as grammatical words, have more than one pronunciation, one strong and the other weak. The following are the grammatical words of English in their strong and weak instances of pronunciation and the environment in which each variant occurs. Please note that the table below is made available for you to study at all times, so as to master how they should be produced and in consequence improve your communication skills. It is not to be learned by rote towards your examination. It is meant to be understood and put into practical use all the time, until you must have relatively mastered the content. The strong and weak forms of standard English grammatical words. Words. Stressed strong forms. Unstressed weak forms. Context of weak variants. Determinants. A. Used only when a consonant sounds. A. All weak contents. An. Before vowels. Every weak context except after T or D. D. J. Before consonants. Some. All weak contexts. Conjunctions. And. After labials, e.g. gets. Ing. After vela, e.g. berg. Prepositions. To. Before consonants. For. Before consonants. From. All weak contexts. Of. Before voiceless consonants. By. All weak contexts. At. All weak contexts. Pronouns. I, me, my, all weak context. You, before vowels, before consonants. He, all weak context, except at the beginning of a word group, where hi is used. His, all weak context, except at the beginning of a word group, where hiz is used. Her, all weak context, except at the beginning of a word group, where hz is used. Him, there, them, us, all weak context. Auxiliary verbs. Shall, should, would, all weak context. Would after I, he, she, we, you, they. Will after vowels and I. After I, he, she, we, you, they. Must, all weak context. Her, before consonants. Where, all weak context. Was. His, after P, T, K, F, and theta sound. Do, before vowels. Does, all weak context. Ham, after I. Has, have, after I. We, you, they. Be, add, all weak context. Had, after I. he, she, we, they, you. Can, all weak context. It should be noted, however, that though the weak forms are used when these words occur in a group, the strong forms are used in the following circumstances. When that word is emphasized in the utterance, e.g., Mary gave it to her, in brackets, not him. Whenever the grammatical word occurs as the last word in the group, e.g., John, will, him, his, her, hers, are exceptions to this because they weaken in word final positions. Except when used contrastively, the words illustrated above are usually unstressed when they occur in sentences. However, when they constitute the focus of information, they get stressed. E.g., I put this dress on the bed, not under the bed. Jide loves those shoes, in bracket, not this. It should be noted here, however, that contrastive stress are used or stress for focusing on units of special information in sentences, does not deal with only grammatical words. Content words may also receive stress contrastively, as in the sentence, Kate borrowed my car, implying that Kate, not Mary, or any other person borrowed the car. If the contrastive stress shifts to borrowed, as in Kate borrowed my car, the implication will be that Kate did not steal the car. Summary of study section 10. In the foregoing, we have to discuss the level of stress which are primary, secondary, and unstressed. Primary stress is assigned to the most important syllable, secondary to the next in prominence, and unstressed to all other syllables of lower prominence. We have also discussed that what fixed and free stress means by differentiating fixed stress as stress systems with predictable stress and free stress as stress systems with unpredictable stress. Languages with fixed stress have a simple stress rule among their phonological rules to guide the speakers, while those with free stress have very complex rules with lots of exceptions. We have also learned that English is a free stress system. Explanations have been offered on why English stress system is complex. We have also identified some phonetic cues to stress, such as pitch prominence, duration, intensity, and segmental quality. Compound and phrasal stress have been discussed and differentiated, while hints have been given on instances where stress could be predicted in the English language. We have discussed sentence stress, differentiating it from word stress, pointing out the hierarchical nature of English stress, which makes it important to reassign stress when words occur together in a word group. We have learned how to differentiate stressing of contents words from grammatical words. We have also addressed the strong and weak forms of English grammatical words and the various contexts for the variants of the weak forms. End of study section 10. Thanks for listening.